Hello, part 35 of the tutorial deals with CRUD functionality with a MySQL backend database. As the code base for this functionality is 99.9% the same with the one discussed in tutorial 34, we greatly recommend you start there first. We are not rehashing anything we said there here. You need to ensure that the MySQL extension is installed and running on your PHP server. You can confirm this by opening the php.ini file. The extension is listed, meaning that we are good to go. In our MySQL server, we have created a users table. We added the ID auto-increment field, the name text field and the age field. This is the same structure we saw in tutorial 34. The user interface, as you have noted for this tutorial, is exactly the same as in tutorial 34. We have add user, get users, get ID equals 1, delete all, etc. As how the CRUD functionality was discussed in detail in tutorial 34, we will only highlight what we changed here. Our class name is BananoMySQL, and the database name is just the name without the extension as our previous example. Everything else in the code is basically the same, thus us not rehashing. We only changed the class name and the database name, nothing else, nada. So, when we add a user, a connection is made to the database, the users table is added a new user. Same like our previous tutorial. We get all users aged 30 plus. We get the first user we added using the ID field. We update the name of user with ID 4 to a new name. We execute a delete. We execute a delete for age 40 and less. We delete everything in the table. Remember, the database name is just that, the database name. Also, when running from an external web server, the server IP variable should reflect the actual domain name or domain IP address, and not localhost. As we are working directly with the server, the config file should reflect our connection settings. You can then implement security settings on top of your web server PHP scripts. The PHP scripts will use this config file when connecting to the backend database. Let's open our development web server site. We see the new PHP file. This will have all our PHP scripts. The config file will be stored in our assets folder. This is it. In tutorial 34 we looked into detail how our CRUD code works and is structured. In 35 we use the same code methodology but to connect to MySQL backend. 2 backends done, same code base. Remember to subscribe. Thank you and enjoy.